Foxconn pulls out of Vedanta India chip project. Ukraine now has more tanks than Russia. Putin to announce standing for re-election for another 6 years. North Korea threatens to shoot down US spy planes. Meta's Threads tops China's App Store. France bans buying fireworks for Bastille Day after riots. Millions of Chinese avoiding travel slows Southeast Asian growth. Cell phones to be banned from Dutch school classrooms next year.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Tuesday, July 11th, and here are your top stories. Global manufacturing powerhouse Foxconn has pulled out of a $19.5 billion joint venture project with Indian conglomerate Vedanta that would have brought semiconductor and display manufacturing to the Indian state of Gujarat. The Taiwanese company told CNBC the decision was by mutual agreement, but that it remained confident about India's semiconductor ambitions. However, Foxconn has continued to build other factories across India, including one in Telangana and one in Belanguru.
Foxconn will actually set up shop next.
In May, Foxconn broke ground on a new $500 million factory in the Indian state of Telangana just under a month after Apple CEO Tim Cook met with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The government of Telangana announced that the new Telangana factory will employ 25,000 workers in the first phase. Telangana SIT Minister KT Rama Rao said Foxconn entered into an agreement with the Telangana government on March 2. Foxconn's other factory is in the Indian state of Karnataka, just outside of Bengaluru.
According to the latest data, Ukraine now has more tanks than Russia, marking a dramatic reversal of battlefield advantage. Citing tracking databases, Bloomberg said that while the number of Russian tanks has dropped to around 1,400, Ukraine has seen a rise to 1,500, tipping the scales in Kyiv's favor when it comes to heavy armor on the battlefield. Bloomberg reports the gap is also closing between the two armies when it comes to other hardware too, including multiple launch rocket systems.
Ukraine has more tanks than Russia for the first time ever.
According to Oryx, which only tracks losses it can confirm through visual confirmation, Russia has seen 2,082 of its tanks either destroyed, damaged, abandoned or captured since February 2022. Figures at the time said Moscow started with 3,417 tanks at its disposal, suggesting it has around 1,400 tanks remaining. Ukraine, meanwhile, began the war with 987 tanks. Factoring in the Russian tanks captured by Ukraine's troops, the country is now believed to have around 1,500 tanks.
It has been claimed Vladimir Putin is preparing to seek 6 more years in the Kremlin in a bid to extend his already 23-year-long reign as either president or prime minister of Russia. The next Russian election is due in March 2024, and a Putin campaign announcement may be made early amid suspicions that Wagner mercenary army boss Yevgeny Prigozhin, 62, has strong political ambitions and will seek to run. The plea for Putin to go for 6 more years would then be rubber-stamped by the ruling political party United Russia.
The media reported that the dictator has been in campaign mode in recent days for the first time since before the pandemic, paying visits to far-flung regions and even posing for selfies with adoring fans. In recent weeks, he was seen snapping selfies and planting affectionate pecks on the heads of young girls in Dagestan. Though Russia purportedly maintains a democratic election process, Putin's critics say he cannot lose since all his political foes have been assassinated, locked up or forced into exile.
North Korea accused U.S. spy planes of violating its airspace and threatened to shoot them down. North Korea claimed that drones and spy planes flew for 8 straight days along its coast, with aircraft violating its airspace. The Korean Central News Agency quoted the spokesman as saying there is no guarantee that such a shocking accident as the downing of the U.S. Air Force Strategic Reconnaissance plane will not happen. It added that Pyongyang will take actions to prevent Washington's reckless acts.
Has accused the U.S. of violating its airspace with spy planes and has threatened to shoot down such aircraft.
The state's Korean Central News Agency reported Monday a spokesman for North Korea's defense ministry said the U.S. was engaging in the most undisguised nuclear blackmail by planning to bring a nuclear-armed submarine to the peninsula and conducting hostile espionage activities by flying spy planes off its east and west coasts. Yonhap News Agency reported the U.S. in June sent a nuclear-powered, guided missile submarine to South Korea for the first time in 6 years in a show of force meant to deter North Korea from military strikes.
Meta's new Twitter rival, Threads, is topping China's iOS app charts despite Western social media apps like Instagram and Facebook being banned in the country by its Great Firewall, which regulates the domestic internet. Threads, launched last Wednesday evening U.S. time, already ranked 4th among free social media apps in Apple's iOS store in China, and just outside the top 50 of all free apps in the country as of last Friday. It sat between Chinese tech giant Tencent's QQ Mail and Tencent Video.
While apps such as Twitter and Meta's Facebook and Instagram are downloadable on the iOS App Store in China, users in the country cannot access these platforms' overseas servers to use their services. Threads has gained traction even though users based in China must use virtual private networks to access the platform. According to GreatFire.org, an organization that tracks online censorship, the domain www.threads.net has been blocked in the country since Tuesday.
France has banned the sale, possession, and transport of all fireworks during the upcoming Bastille Day festivities. The government issued a decree on Sunday prohibiting pyrotechnic articles for the 14th of July celebrations that marked France's National Day. However, the ban does not apply to official firework displays organized by local authorities. The move comes after rioting sparked by last month's police killing of 17-year-old Nahel M by police in Natari.
The edict, published in the French official Gazette, said, in order to prevent the risk of serious disturbances to public order during the 14th of July festivities, the sale, carrying, transport and use of pyrotechnic articles and fireworks will be prohibited on national territory until the 15th of July inclusively. Prime Minister Elizabeth Borne said that in addition to the restrictions on fireworks, a massive security presence would be deployed in order to keep the peace and to protect the French during these two sensitive days.
China's slower-than-expected economic recovery has left its population more hesitant to spend money heading abroad. As such, the number of Chinese arrivals in 5 Southeast Asian countries varied between 14% and 39% in May compared to 2019. Latest official data compiled by Bloomberg News shows that Southeast Asian nations counting on Chinese travelers to drive tourism revenues and their economies post-COVID are finding the flow of visitors far from the flood they were hoping for.
The visitor statistics suggest that Southeast Asia's economic recovery this year will be muted, amid China's faltering growth momentum. While Thailand is benefiting from a rebound in post-pandemic travel demand, Chinese visitor arrivals are expected to miss the original official 7 million target for 2023 by at least 2 million. The nation's gross domestic product forecast for this year was cut by Nomura Holdings Inc. economists to 3.4% from the previously seen 4% on lower than expected tourism spending.
The Dutch government said last Tuesday cell phones, tablets, and smartwatches will be largely banned from classrooms in the Netherlands from January 1st, 2024, in a bid to limit distractions during lessons. Devices will only be allowed if they are specifically needed. For instance, during lessons on digital skills, for medical reasons, or for people with disabilities. The ban is the result of an agreement between the ministry, schools, and related organizations.
We gaan ook wel heel scherp kijken of dit werkt.
In a statement, Holland's Education Minister Robert Dijkgraaf said, Even though mobile phones are intertwined with our lives, they do not belong in the classroom. Students need to be able to concentrate and need to be given the opportunity to study well. Scientific research shows mobile phones are a disturbance. We need to protect students against this. Dijkgraaf said schools can find their own way to organize the ban. He added legal rules will follow if this does not yield enough results by the summer of 2024.
Now let's delve into the news of cell phones to be banned from Dutch schools next year. Number 1. Distraction. 分散注意的事情，使人分心的事情。I find it hard to work at home because there are too many distractions. Number 2. Disability. 某种缺陷障碍。Facilities for people with disabilities are still insufficient. Number 3. Disturbance. 受干扰、打扰、妨碍。The building work is creating constant noise, dust, and disturbance. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune into Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.
It starts with one thing. In the end, it doesn't even matter. Better world, better world. Welcome to Gilgil, California. Miracles, but miracle has happened tonight. Pray I'll be missing you. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying, but I can't wait for the leaving, make a better place.